What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to share with you 3 recent returns that I got back in the mail, and I'm going to profile each of those individuals that signed autographs for me. So this first one is postmarked from California, and it is a return from former Oakland Raider and Canadian football legend Mervyn Fernandez on 4 of 4 cards. You know, a couple scorecards, a Fleer and a Pro Set card there. So let me tell you about Mervyn Fernandez and his career in football. Fernandez was a standout wide receiver for Andrew Hill High School in San Jose, California, where he picked up the famous nickname Swervin' Mervyn from his team's quarterback. Following high school, Fernandez played at De Anza Junior College in Cupertino, California, before finishing his college career at nearby San Jose State University. This is where the Los Angeles Raiders took notice of Fernandez's abilities, and the Raiders decided to draft him. However, Fernandez felt that he didn't have as big an opportunity to play in the NFL and chose instead to go play in the Canadian Football League. Well, Fernandez signed to play with the British Columbia Lions, the BC Lions. He joined the Lions in 1982 and made an immediate impact, finishing his rookie season with over 1,000 receiving yards and helping his team win to a 9-7 record that year. Fernandez won the CFL Western Division Most Outstanding Rookie of the Year award that year and was a finalist for the CFL's Most Outstanding Rookie as well. After 2 1,000-yard seasons, Fernandez was a key component to the BC Lions Grey Cup Championship in 1985. Fernandez finished the season with 95 catches, 1,727 yards, for an average of 18.2 yards per reception, along with 15 touchdowns. He got injured and was not able to play in the Grey Cup Championship game against Hamilton, even though despite his injury, he was selected as the CFL's most outstanding player that year. Fernandez, during his time in the CFL, was a 2-time CFL All-Star and is now a member of the BC Lions Wall of Fame. Finally, owner Al Davis convinced Fernandez, after they had drafted him, to come play for the Raiders at the conclusion of the 1986 season. So now, after his long tenure in the CFL, Mervyn moved to join the Raiders. Fernandez spent his entire 6-year NFL career from 1987 to 92 with the one team, the Raiders. During that span, Fernandez played in 86 games and amassed 209 catches for 3,764 yards and 19 touchdowns. Arguably, with the Raiders, Fernandez's finest year was in 1989 when he made 57 catches for over 1,069 yards and 9 touchdowns, leading all Raiders receivers in almost every major category. Well, after finishing out his time with Los Angeles in 1992, Mervyn decided to make a comeback and go back to the team that originally drafted him, the BC Lions, for the 1994 season. After his career ended in the CFL and the NFL, Mervyn moved back to California. He was elected to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in 2019, and he was also selected as one of the top 50 players in the CFL in the modern era. So I want to thank Mr. Fernandez for signing for me. Swervin' Mervyn is like probably one of the coolest nicknames in the history of the NFL, to be honest with you. So thank you very much, Mr. Fernandez, and we'll move on to the next return. All right, this next one is postmarked from Pennsylvania, and it is from former Buffalo Bills Pro Bowler Shane Conlan on 1, 2, 3, and a 4th, and he's sporting the awesome 1990s early pants. So bonus points for anybody that can name the pants in this picture. Okay, look for your comments below. And let me tell you about Shane Conlan and his career in football. Shane Conlan, a New York native, grew up in New York where he attended high school in New York. He was selected by the great Joe Paterno to come play for the Penn State University Nittany Lions, where he won 2 national championships, both in 1982 and 1986, with the Penn State Nittany Lions. Conlan capped his junior season at Penn State in the 1985 National Championship game in the Orange Bowl against the University of Oklahoma. The finale to his senior was the 1986 championship game versus the University of Miami in the 1987 Fiesta Bowl. In that game, Conlan had 8 tackles, 2 interceptions. Most memorably, he returned the second of the 2 interceptions, 38 yards to the Miami 5-yard line to set up the now famous DJ Dozier's game-winning touchdown. With Penn State 15-10 victory, Conlan's squad completed an undefeated season, securing the 1986 National Championship. Conlan was selected as the #1 draft pick of the Buffalo Bills in the '87 draft. After his rookie season, he was awarded the 1987 NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year by the Associated Press. From 1988 to 1990, Conlan enjoyed 3 straight trips to the Pro Bowl. Conlan played for the Bills from 1987 to 1992, where he was a member of those famous Super Bowl Buffalo Bills teams. After his time with the Buffalo Bills, Conlan would move all the way across the country to Los Angeles. However, the Rams would relocate to St. Louis, and Conlan would also play 1 year in St. Louis. After his 1 year in St. Louis, after football, Conlan decided to move back east to Pittsburgh, and he actually got into the commercial real estate business. Prestigiously after his career, Conlan was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame in 2014. The Big Ten Network put Conlan on the Penn State Mount Rushmore. He still to this day works in the real estate market, and was gone down as one of the greatest college football players ever to play the game. Obviously he's a Hall of Famer. Obviously was a huge impact to the Buffalo Bills as well during their success in the early 1990s. So very happy to add Shane Conlan to the collection. I'd never gotten him before. Very cool again to get him on the card with the pants from the 90s, if you can name it, or late 80s, early 90s. And also a nice Pro Bowl card, and also his rookie card. So some very nice additions to the collection, and we'll move on to the last one. Okay, this final one is actually a return from one of my favorites growing up, and that is from Merril Hoge of the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of the hardest hitting running backs. Him and the boss, Jerome Bettis. Let me tell you about Merril Hoge and his career in football and what he has done after his career in football. Merril Hoge was born and raised in Pocatello, Idaho. Hoge graduated from Highland High School in Pocatello, and he didn't have to move far because he played his college football right there in Pocatello as well at Idaho State University, and was selected 3 times as an all-conference selections for the Bengals. In 1985, Hoge set an NCAA record of 2,113 all-purpose yards, an average of 192.1 per game, including a school record 1,041 rushing yards. He finished his career with an NCAA record of 5,453 all-purpose yards and 31 touchdowns. The Pittsburgh Steelers selected Hoge in the 10th round in the 1987 draft with the 261st pick. His first year in Pittsburgh, he was not a starter, but he did appear in 13 games that first year in 1987. He would shift over to fullback in 1988, and he would start half of the games, appearing in 8 of them as a starter of the 16. By 1989, Hoge was the full-time starter for the Steelers at fullback. He would hold on to this position through the 1993 season, with the Steelers being a very dominant force, at fullback for the Steelers, and he would actually decide to leave the Steelers after the 1993 season for a job with the Chicago Bears as their fullback. Well, unfortunately, a lot of Hoge's career was riddled with some injuries. He had adversity of dealing with concussions and various football injuries throughout his career. And after he retired, he got into broadcasting in 1996. Well, unfortunately, some ailments came about as well. He had a bout with cancer, and he was able to overcome his bout with cancer and survive. And he was a broadcaster for ESPN through 2017, focused more on his family, and his son, Bo, actually was at Brigham Young University from 2015 to 2018. So now Merril goes around and he is kind of like a motivational speaker. He speaks to people about the adversities that he had to go through, being a cancer survivor and all of these things, and trying to motivate people that have also gone through these trials and tribulations of their life. So it's very nice of what Merril is doing now, going around and trying to help others with, giving the blessing that he is still around to be able to help others. So I want to thank Merril Hoge for signing my cards. These were, great cards out of my collection that I've had for years. I also, again, want to thank Shane Conlan for signing his cards for me as well. And last but not least, let's not forget the Canadian football legend / Los Angeles Raider legend, Swervin' Mervyn Fernandez, for signing his cards as well. I look forward to your comments below, and as always, happy collecting.